who has your ear? And are these people, because some have been helped by people who are divorced to retain and sustain their marriages, because the person is going to say, be careful, that's how I lost my marriage.
True.
You don't want to go down that path. And they'll give sound counsel to say, if you don't want to end up where I am, this is how you can turn the situation around. So there's pros and cons to this thing. So, but I'm very big on associations. I'm very careful who I allow into my life, and I don't push people away. But you are all. It's like an auditorium. Some are sitting up front, some are sitting way at the back. Don't allow everybody. Not everybody who is called friend is friendly. So there is a correlation in the people you hang out and where you end up.
Ooh. Hello, lovely people. Welcome to another episode of the Living in Fullness podcast. I am your lovely host, Naki Hlomayi Muteto. So I apologize for the silence. A lot has been happening in the background, but I'm back and thank you for staying with us. If it's your first time here, Living in Fullness is a platform that believes in holistic growth, holistic understanding, wellness of what God wants us to be, relationship-wise, financially, spiritually, emotionally, just trying to grow in every area that God places us in. All right, so if it's your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe, join the family, like, interact, and share this podcast. On that note, we've got an amazing guest, one who will keep you glued, trust me. I'm really excited to introduce him. He is a husband, he is a father, he is a pastor, he is someone who is unapologetic about their views, trust me. I'm really excited because he is not only doing amazing things for the community, but for God as well. Help me in welcoming Pastor Gugu Mbuku.
Hey, thank you so much. Wow, what an intro. What an intro. Well, I am everything you've mentioned. I am excited. Hi, everybody. It's an honor for me to be here. I always take it as such a privilege to be able to share my life, my testimony, what God has given me. I don't take it lightly. I never get used to it, by the way.
So don't you? I'm telling you, I think I also never get used to being behind the...
No, I never get used to it. But it's great to be here, and so that we can live in fullness.
Yes.
Holistically, as you say. Thank you for having me, Naki. And when I got the invite, I was like, who's this person? What's happening? Then I went to look at went to YouTube quickly. I was like, okay, let me find out what's happening here. Yeah. I don't want to, always avoid, when you're saying I'm unapologetic, one of the things I'm unapologetic about is saying no to platforms that I know will compromise who I am, what I stand for. If I see even something that says to me, you don't want to be associated with this, I decline. It doesn't matter how big the platform may seem.
That's amazing.
That's just who I am. I'd rather not be counted as one of the guests, as one of the people, because some things you indirectly endorse without saying so. And so I always, I looked at it and I was like, okay, I'll be a part of this.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to have you here. I'm really excited about our podcast today because the episode, so I actually asked some of our viewers, right, to give us questions on marriage and dating. Yeah. I wasn't really surprised with the turnout because a lot of people have questions around dating and marriage and stuff like that. So we will close out the episode with some of those questions. Actually, only two. I couldn't get through all of them. So I didn't send those to you. As a disclaimer, I didn't send them to him. I want him to answer them on the spot.
Oh, okay.
So to start with, we're going to have some icebreakers.
Okay.
Right. Are you ready?
As I can be, ready as I can be. I don't know what the icebreakers can be.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
They're good. So one thing you're confident people will never catch you doing.
One thing I'm confident people will never catch me doing is Twisting the word of God.
I love it.
I'd never do that. You would never see me do that. I'd never. Twisting the word of God for gain.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that you'll never see me doing.
That's amazing. And that's why you're here. All right. Describe marriage in a sentence to you.
In a sentence, wow. It's the union of two individuals for a common purpose.
And it's actually in line with what we're going to speak about. So that's exciting. We'll dig deeper into that.
Yes, we will.
One thing you wish people knew about you from onset.
Is there something people don't know about me first? I'm trying.
Do we know everything?
Is that I think, I love engaging with people.
Yeah.
And people don't know that about me. Actually, they don't, because a lot of people look at me and they're like, yo, he's very reserved. It's very serious. It's very, I'm not as serious. That's the one thing. I love having engagements, building engagements. And I love it when people come to me to engage on stuff. But I get a lot of, you're not really easy.
You don't seem like you're easy to approach.
Yeah. I'm very easy. I think that's it. I'm easy to approach.
I think you are. I mean, would I have gotten that? No, I don't think. I think I would have been those people. But one thing about me is I've learned that don't ever think people are far-fetched without trying. The worst you can ever get in life is a no. And I'm okay with getting no's, really. So, the last one. Finish this sentence. I am inspired by people who
love people.
Nice. Okay. You see, you did so well.
Yeah. I tried.
Well done.
I tried.
All right. So let's start with you telling us who Pastor Gugu is and your background, your childhood, what you do. Yeah.
Okay, guys, it's always a very difficult thing to do because I'm being asked to compress 40 plus years into less than a minute, which is a very tough thing to do. Yeah. So I'm a PK. I've been in church all my life. Started serving God at a very early age. My dad was a pastor at the church, and I got to meet Jesus at an early age. And life happened, and I got to reconnect with Jesus later in my life again. And I've always known that I was destined to be a pastor. And I'm a musician, producer. I have had my stint in the professional music scene, and I decided to take a backseat, I'd say, but not completely, to focus on the ministry of being a pastor. I've traveled for ministry. God has been gracious to me, and that doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else, but it's just been a privilege that I've had. I have 2 kids. My beautiful wife, very beautiful.
She is gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we've been married now 16 years as of last Friday. And I'm a pastor at Four Winds City Church in East London. 10 years now, going on 11. It's not been an easy journey, but I love every bit of it. What else am I leaving out? I'm also a corporate head, as they as they would put it. I work in the fuel industry.
Interesting.
Yes. So for the Astron brand, Astron Energy. If you see an Astron Energy brand, you must know that's us. So I love helping people to develop and reach their full potential and work towards their dreams and get their life right according to the purpose of God. I enjoy helping people discover and evolve.
That's incredible. So if people know me, they know that I love to stalk my guests. Okay. And I will find out things about my guests before they come on this platform. But the difference with your case is the fact that there are a lot of things I didn't know, right? I didn't know you're a PK. I didn't know you work. I did not know that you have done music, right? So now I'm thinking of all the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm like, I think I'll need a part two. But out of interest, right?
Okay.
Because you did say that you grew up in a Christian home, and then you sort of drifted, and then you went back to Christ. So now, what were some of the challenges of being a pastor's kid, and why do you say you drifted?
Okay, so I think I cannot say I had many issues in being a pastor's kid growing up. I know a lot of people will always say it's hard being a pastor's kid, but guys, honestly, it was not hard for me. It was. I think I got to understand that my dad, my mom, they loved helping people. They were what you'd call missionaries. They had an assignment on their lives, and we had to share them with a ton of other people, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, it was not a normal childhood where, I was in church from Monday to Monday. So especially me being a musician in the church from a very early age. So I did not have your normal childhood. My holidays were revivals and crusades. And I'd be going around the Transkei with my dad. He was evangelizing and doing home visits and ministry. So it was not a normal childhood, but it was not a troublesome or painful childhood.
Nice.
But I think it was a very much protected environment.
Yeah.
Which then, when I got to a stage where I was on my own, those protection parameters were removed, kind of. So I had to figure things out on my own. And I got into some stuff that I should not have. It was not out of rebellion, like people would say many PKs do. It was not out of that. It was just...
You came out of your bubble.
Yeah. It was me being a young person and just starting to do stuff that I was not supposed to be doing. And but God was gracious that But here's the thing, Naki, I never left church. I never stopped serving in church, even at the time when I was entangled in a lot of messy stuff. I was still serving in the church. I've never been out of the church.
Yeah, you still knew God is who I need, regardless.
Yeah, regardless. I was still there. I was still ministering. I was still standing up in the pulpit, and I was still... preaching.
That raises a lot of questions to me now.
Yeah. So
it's interesting.
But I knew that I was not in the right place.
Uh-huh.
I knew that I had backslidden, but it's not something that a lot of people probably knew about me, because I was still ministering, because I was still, and I was not kind of like trying to appease myself by preaching something I was still preaching the gospel. I was still sharing, I knew that I was not living up to it, but I did not alter the truth at any given moment in my life. That
That's incredible.
I can stand and say boldly, I was not living right, but I was preaching right. I've never not preached a gospel. I've never preached a gospel that accommodates living in sin.
Yeah.
So I've never. So, but it caught up with me. I think that also helped me that I was still within, let's say, for lack of a better definition, I was still within the grace of God in that time. And it was this one time by myself where I was confronted by God. What are you doing? What is this? So I had to repent of all of that, and I had to get back. So being a PK was not hard. Stepping out of my place in Christ was not out of rebellion. It was more of my sinful nature getting the better of me. That was it. And I reconciled with Christ, never looked back.
Yeah. That's amazing. You know what? One thing I love about God is the fact that there's grace, right?
Yep.
And he doesn't take away his gifts from us, right? So no matter how we drift, I think what's important is you still knew he's God, right? Yeah. And you're still preaching, you're just not doing the word. Yeah. And that makes it also easier to get convicted, right? Because you still have the word in you.
Listen, every time I was preaching, I was convicted. Every time, because you do know what you're supposed to be doing. You're just not doing it.
You just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really helped. Okay.
No, you see, I feel like this is another episode.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to ask you about this in detail.
I'm open to speaking about it. I know there's a lot of people who need help with regards to that. That bubble, when that bubble burst, really, I could not find my feet. I could not find myself. So yeah, it happens.
You can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. But today, what we called you for is marriage, dating. Okay. So, like I said, right, I think before we started the episode, I love how unapologetic you are about the word, about Christ, about truth, right? And I really want you to be as honest as possible. Use your examples, use some examples that you've seen, and of course, the word, right? Yeah. So, from your perspective, just to start with, what is your view of marriage, right? And what has been some of your experiences with marriage, like maybe just how you've seen yourself evolve over time as a husband, and some of the challenges and some of the things that you think people don't really understand about a covenant marriage?
So when it comes to marriage, one of the things I always teach and always share with people is that when you get married for selfish reasons. We always do. We may not admit to it, but the reason I chose to marry the woman I married was because of everything that I wanted. I saw something I liked in her. I saw something I wanted. It was all about me. It was me checking all the boxes that satisfy my criteria of a potential wife. It was me, it was all about me. It was never about her. It was always about me. She looked at me and she likely saw the same thing. This can be a guy I marry. This, you get into marriage. There's a lot of selfish reasons. But the ironic part is that to keep the marriage, there's a lot of selflessness required. So you get in with selfish criteria, but you sustain it by selfless criteria. So there's a lot of selflessness now required, because now it has to be about you too and not just yourself. So decisions change, lifestyle changes, and everything is now built on selflessness. So that is the part that I think a lot of people need to reconcile with, because the moment you think, oh, I saw the beautiful hair, and I saw that, and I saw that, and when that fades, the marriage has to remain.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so the check boxes might fade with time. And number two, what I've come to discover in marriage is that earlier when we were talking about with a friend of mine, talking about how people change. People change, and it's part of growth. You can call it
True.
You are evolving, or whatever you want to call it, but it's a change nonetheless.
Yeah.
So when I get married, I marry a different person than a person I will have to live with.
Yeah.
If somebody remains the same person, there's something wrong there.
Definitely.
Because you have to grow, you have to evolve.
Yeah.
I have to grow, I have to evolve. So it's something that you have to know as you get into the marriage. I hear a lot of people when I sit with couples for counseling sessions says, but this person has changed. I'm like, you say it like it's a bad thing, And
you say it like you didn't expect it.
Yeah. Like
Did you expect them to be the same? Yeah.
Like, you cannot, I'm like, you are not even the same person, but you expect the other person to remain the same person. So we have to be kind of like true to ourselves in that I will change, this person will change, but we need to stay married. Those people that we don't know, every marriage, I'll say this one, every wedding rather. So I'll tell them, these two people that are making vows to each other won't be there to actually uphold the vows. These two that are in front of us, these are not the people that will have to uphold these vows. The future people are the ones that have to uphold this vows. Those people will be caught up in, but you promised, and you're like, that was a different person.
The way I thought then.
Yeah, that was a different person that made this promise.
True.
So you have to consider all those things and basically decide that I'm getting married to stay married. I know that nobody gets married to get out of marriage, but life happens because of some of these decisions that you make in the marriage based on who you were when you got married, or maybe who the idea of the marriage you had. Yeah. So those ideas, as great as they are, we have to move from just people who live in ideal worlds to living in the reality of where we are. So I see marriage as more than just something you can build on how you feel, what you think. You have to have a resolute mind when you decide that you'll get married. Your love has to be kind of like a decision more than a feeling. You're deciding to love somebody. You're not loving them because you feel like you love them, or you have a feeling of love towards them. You're rather deciding that I will love this person. It's so that when feelings come and go, the decision still stands. I decided to love this person, so I need to find ways to love this person. I need to become the person who loves this person. So
that's an interesting perspective that you're bringing, right? So when I'm thinking of it, what I've heard people struggle a lot with, right, is there's these ideas that we have of marriage, and there's a lot of things that shape our ideas of marriage, right? So how I grew up, what I saw from my parents, what I saw from people that surround me. And so TV as well. Like, I mean, social media has a way of painting, what we think marriage looks like, right? So is it bad to dream? Like, how do I draw the line between I need to be realistic and I need to also dream, right? Because my expectations, as much as they might be unreasonable, sometimes there are expectations that could be reasonable. Like, how do I draw the line? How do I know where to say, this is unrealistic and that it's okay to dream because this can happen?
So, from the onset, when you get married, you have to get married to the person you're getting married to and not the ideal person that you would want, because you're starting your marriage off on a note of having a mold where you have to consistently try to squeeze this other person into. And that is a very dangerous footing to find yourself on, because in as much as it's good to dream, but be careful not to try to compress this person into a specific ideal mold of a mold of a husband or a wife that you would prefer. So be married to the person. Be married. This is the person. And so when I get into the marriage, I have to get to know this person more, and then I will be able to fit myself into their lives. Remember, when you're getting married to a person, you Naki, are supposed to be a wife to your husband. So for you to be the Bible speaks about a suitable helper. It says God made him a suitable helper, meaning she was a custom-made companion. So meaning she had to fit into what he was. So as a spouse, you need to customize yourself into becoming a spouse to this person. So meaning there's a degree of learning that you have to go through to get to know this person, so that you can fit into who they are. They need to do the same. It's not a one-sided thing. I'm talking to both spouses here. So the danger comes when your dreams will supersede the reality, and because now you'll consistently try to squeeze me into a mold that is not who I am. And secondly, you need to rely on God, who knows the person, to show you who this person is and how you can be a suitable help for this person, a suitable companion for this person. So we must not bring our dreams into trying to. I cannot make my wife a wife. I don't know how to make a wife. I still have a duty of becoming a husband.
Yes.
So that is what should be my focus, is how do I become a husband, rather than trying to find out how do I make her a wife. Because the moment I focus on how to make her a wife, I neglect my duties of becoming a husband. So she cannot try to make me a husband, because she doesn't know how to make a husband. She can never be a husband. She needs to find out, how does she become a wife? That is the duty. We have two separate duties, so everyone has to play their part. And by doing so, you are nurturing a lasting marriage.
That's amazing. I told you we're in for a treat.
Yeah.
So, whilst you're speaking about this, one thing I believe in, right, is dating is a foundation for marriage, right? Some people think we will figure it out once we get married. I know the dating side of it is not working, but I know when we get married, it's going to work. So I know with these days, with a lot of issues around financial stability, around should a man have it all figured out before he gets married, right? How much money should he have before he gets married? Because I think most men have this whole idea of, okay, I need to have my things together, because there's a lot of pressure society-wise as well on a man being a provider, right? So it's like, okay, how much money do I need to have to be a man worthy of being a husband? So what would you say around that?
Okay, are we starting with dating, or are we starting with the man becoming a head of the family? Which one are we addressing first?
Dating.
Start with dating.
Yeah.
So dating cannot be, how do I put it? So the reason I'm asking is because these two things are very much separate.
Okay.
Dating is one of those things that I grew up in the old church. Dating was a big no.
Yeah, it's like you just
Yeah. Dating meant you are no longer a child of God. That's what it meant.
Okay.
So basically.
Tell me more.
Yeah, well, basically umjolo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a sin.
There was no two ways about it. There was no discussions around it. And umzalwane nje ojolayo, umzalwane ojolayo awuseyena umzalwane, you are no longer owile nje.
Sure.
So but look, we find ourselves having to be 21st century pastors who have to now look at the merits and downside of everything holistically. Look at what actually is dating. I had to start learning what dating actually is in my elderly Christian life, if I may put it, because I grew up in an environment where it was not even something we would discuss.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it was a youth service or youth convention. There was no, let's discuss dating. Dating was that thing. Dating was just as bad as being a drunk and being, using drugs and what it was just part of the sins.
Yeah.
That you could not. So, but let me speak on what I have discovered. And by the way, that's still the tone of the gospel in some areas, that dating is just a no.
I think, that's another topic for another day.
Well, you guys, I think you guys are in a different environment where. So dating at the time was prevalent in white churches, as we're known. So those dating would be, because it's part of their culture. Now, you have to understand that where we grew up in villages and townships, dating included the whole 9 yards. It was not just you going and sitting and drinking coffee and watching movies. And it was not that. It ended up with sexual activity. It was... Yeah.
So I think that was their reason, don't you think?
It was, because that's how dating in our communities was. There was no person who would say, no, we're just dating and you won't be sleeping together.
Yeah.
It was not something that was happening. It was, you see, it was not part of the culture. So the moment you are known with Jordan Oban, we know
that this is what's happening.
This is what's happening.
It's part of it. Yeah.
So, but truth of the matter is, dating is possible without having sin involved. It is possible, but realistically speaking, we have seen a lot of people fall into the pitfall of fornication and sexual sin because they thought they could date without engaging in such. And it's the reality that as a pastor you get to face. One moment the people are telling you we're dating, and then the next thing we're expecting what?
Yeah.
So it takes a very high level of maturity to have restraints. You need to have restraints. You cannot date for the sake of dating. And you know that you are still dealing with your own weaknesses of the flesh. You should not be doing that. You should, even people back in the day, even if they were preparing for their marriage, there would always be a third person involved. They were never allowed to go, just the two of them, to go pick the cake or whatever.
Yeah.
There had to be a third person.
Yeah.
You would just, it was safety parameters for to help you not to fall into temptation. But now we have people saying they're dating, and then they'll go see a movie together, and the movie is at 8 p.m. and then the other one has to drive the other one home, and one thing leads to another, and we have an issue. So, in as much as we can define dating as this clean and sinless thing, which it is, but it needs to be taken very seriously, or rather, you need people who have a certain degree of maturity.
And that includes spiritual maturity as well, right?
That highly includes spiritual maturity. Yeah. But because dating, to be honest with you, Naki, dating will open you up to sexual temptation, which you would otherwise not have if you were not dating, or rather not have, but rather you are not exposing yourself willingly to such. So dating, I always advise people, make sure that you know what you're doing, and also there is a purpose to it, because another issue that we run into in our churches now, we have Naki, who has dated 3 guys within the church, because we just didn't have anything in common with the other guys, and now we having a lot of issues in the church because this guy has dated five girls within the same church, and it just becomes messy. So we have to. That's why I said to you, we have to look at the merits of it. We have to look at the downside of it, and it's always important to. There's no balancing act. You just need to find, is this thing feasible in the cultural context of where we are as a church, this community? Would people handle that? No. Do I need to teach more on it? Do I need to get somebody to teach these people what dating is all about? Because it's not part of the Black culture. I must say that. It has never been. It's just a modern day Western culture invading our own culture, because it will always be where did you grow up? How what was the culture of because and then also with dating, how long is this thing supposed to go on?
Yes, there's that as well.
Yeah, because now you have people, they've been dating for 4 years, and then they evolve, and then the other person feels, nah, this person's not in my league.
Yeah.
Or now I'm such and such an important person in the corporate space. I need people within my bracket, or and now we consistently have to clean up after these messy breakups that happen, and so it's something that's really I cannot outright say it's wrong, but I cannot sit and promote people and say, just date, guys, just date, because there's a lot of heartbreak, there's a lot of emotional distress that it comes with on young people, and because now they don't focus on growing spiritually, because there's this relationship that you're trying to, it has to be people that are already at a certain age level where I'm really working towards settling down, and there has to be time frames to that. Dating open-endedly, it's like we have people who've been engaged for 5 years, and what is that? What is
exactly.
that even like? So there's a lot of I don't know how to put it, but it comes with a lot of danger.
I totally get you.
Yeah. So
I totally hear you.
So I have never sat in any conversation with young people to say it's wrong, don't do it, because I cannot say that. Because I know I've seen people who dated and they ended up getting married and everything was done right.
Yes.
But then again, I've seen also a big number of people getting hurt.
Yes.
People even abandoning the gospel because of messy breakups that happen in the dating, or this person who were dating and now they married another girl here in the church or another guy here in the church.
And now people leave church because they can't watch it. But you know what? I think I totally agree with what you're saying, because if I hear you correctly, the issue is not with dating, right? The issue is how you date and who you date and for what reason, right? So it's more people have to date for the right reasons. It's actually in line with a video I posted just 2 weeks ago. And I was saying that, like, if you want to date, as Christians especially, right, we don't date for fun. You have to look at someone and say, this is the person I want to get married to, right? This is the person who would look like somebody I want to get married to. And date at a place where you know that the time frames we're looking at as this long, right? And I can't speak about my entire story, but for me, I started dating at 15. And if I'll be honest, at 15, did I know what marriage looks like, right? It was really by the grace of God that I still kept to the word. Right. But again, not many people are able to do that, you know? So I think I hear what you're saying, that it's not about dating. It's the who, the when, the why you're even dating. Are you ready? Are you spiritually mature to be able to handle a relationship and do it right? Right. So
goes for both parties. Because you can think you are spiritually fit, and the other person pressures you into engaging in things that you wouldn't otherwise engage in. But because you have this fondness towards them, and you don't want to lose them, and it can compromise you. It can compromise you. So yeah.
That's true.
That's on dating.
That's true.
That's my piece on dating.
Yeah, I agree with you. So whilst we're still on dating, right? But then moving to the financial part. At what point is a man financially ready to get married?
At what point financially?
Yeah.
You see, this is a very tough thing. Because I'm not supposed to be a millionaire to bankroll somebody else's life or anything, but there needs to be some real considerations here. Will you be able to carry a family if you happen to have a child in your first year of marriage? Are you fit for that? Don't tell me you'll do family planning. A lot of people have done it and they ended up with children nonetheless. Are you in the right space financially to kind of like because now if you get married, when you get married as a man, you are taking a responsibility as a head of the family, but at the same time there is that societal expectation of you actually being the financial muscle in the family. Yes, it is there, but you must actually consider those things that, okay, my wife works, I work, or rather my fiance works, I work, and we get married, she loses her job. Will I still be able to carry the family? Well, but these things are not I don't want to call them the core of the decision making, because financially you're supposed to build together as well. You must have your lobola, obviously, your lobola gift, unless you are deciding to go with the other cultures that will not require such. So you must know that you are not going to have to take out a loan for lobola. You don't do that. I think that's one thing I can say to you guys. Do not get married on credit. Ooh. Don't do that. You don't take out.
Your entire marriage is a liability.
Yeah. Now you're doing that, and the wedding is also now another credit card that you took out from Nedbank, and you took out another loan from then, an overdraft here and there. I don't do that. That is a very bad start of the marriage. Or when you can carry the wedding, when you can pay the lobola, when you can start the life. Rule of thumb for me is we can live for the first 6 months on what I have.
Only.
Yeah. So rule of thumb. That's not gospel. That's just me. Can you, after the wedding day, can this family survive at least the first 6 months? Because there'll be a lot of costs that come with moving into a new house and blah, 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 and all of those things. So can I carry this family at least for 6 months? It's not written in any manual. It's just Pastor G's manual. It's me. It's my advice. If you can, then I think you're fit. Then you can build together. You can work towards everything else. And also don't get married if you don't know what's going to happen. I've had a lot of people, we just want to see where things lead. No, you don't. Please don't.
It's not a trial and error.
Yeah. They will lead to the divorce court.
Yeah.
I can tell you that for free.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And I think for me, financial stability just sort of gives it really, like it removes that stress of your marriage, right? We're not talking about wealth, but I think I'm speaking more about it allows you to focus on building a relationship, because some couples just fight because the finances are not adding up, right? But I like what you say, that marriage is building together. It's a partnership. It's both of you saying, this is where we see ourselves. And that's why you don't lose a sense of individualization just because you're married. So you still push your goals. You're still both pushing in terms of getting income. So you're both bringing in income into the home and helping each other to build. But I think as the man, you're carrying the vision. So remembering that if really my wife decides that she can't work today, or she can't work today, she loses her job, am I able to carry the family?
But you know, you're touching on something here, Naki, about being a visionary of the family.
Yeah.
Now, when I got married to my wife, these are things I did not know back then, but I got to learn through the Spirit of God teaching me in my experience in marriage, that if I'm the leader of the family, I'm the leader and the head over my wife. If I'm leading her, it's always important to ask the question, where am I leading her to? Because then you have to be a person who is going to spend time with God to say, where do you want her to go? Because I cannot lead her to where I prefer. I have to lead her to where she's supposed to go. So it is all part of where God wants you individually and as a unit. So my leadership in the family, even with kids, God, where do you want these children? Where am I leading them? I may want them to be doctors. I may want them to be lawyers and engineers and accountants and all of those things. But does God want them there? And if not, how do I then lead them towards their purpose, God-ordained purpose? How am I going to lead this wife towards that? Because it will alleviate a lot of strain and stress and fighting in the family unit. If I know, okay, from what I understand, God wants you to be in this particular place, then I know how to fit myself into leading you towards that, into helping you towards that, into being a real leader. The leadership is not dictatorship. It's not me saying, you're going to be a marketer, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to do this. It is me saying, I am here as a God-ordained servant to make sure that you guys end up where God wants you and where He wants me. That is the true leadership of a family man, not to lead them to where you want or where society pushes you to lead them, but to lead them to where God wants them. That is how you will succeed in being a leader of a family.
That's amazing. I mean, guys, this episode needs to be 3 hours long. I feel like we're running out of time. But then Just in line with that, right? Because I was thinking about how, for example, you as a man, you carry the vision, so you're leading your family, right? But then there are certain instances that, like, does the man being a provider always mean they're providing financially only? If a man is not providing financially or is not able to provide financially, does that take away his leadership role in a marriage?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
That is a God-ordained order
Mm-hmm.
of marriage. It's not something that we can negotiate out of a marriage. Unless we want to choose a different type of marriage, which is not as how God created marriage for mankind. The head remains the head even if they don't have an income, because they're the person who are entrusted with a role to guide, the role to steer the ship towards where it's supposed to go. So, but because we live in a time where money is the currency. How we survive, everything needs money. You as a man have to work towards getting income, and sometimes the wife will be earning more, even if they both are earning. You married a person who's really career driven, and her aspirations are probably bigger than yours in the corporate sector. And that's when people will say people are not compatible, which is arguable, but we're not there today. I can be a husband that earns less than my wife, but that doesn't make her the leader of the family. Yes, we bring the finances of the family here, and we sit, and I offer my guidance as my leadership as the head of the family. And these things actually make a lot of couples fight, because why should you tell me what to do? I bring the most money, type of thing. So if you have that kind of a mindset, you are not really ready for marriage. Please just stay in your career and build until such time you are ready to have. This is one thing that we cannot recreate and redefine marriage. It's a God order. There's God, the man, the wife, the children. That is a God order of a marriage. That
non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. We cannot negotiate. We cannot base that on who brings in the most cheese. We cannot. But we need husbands and fathers who will take up their role of leadership, because you as a father are more than just a provider. You are also the custodian of people's destinies. That's what you've been entrusted with that role of fostering and nurturing people to live their lives towards their God-ordained destinies. So your provision exceeds rand or dollar or whatever currency. It exceeds current. It's beyond current currency. It is you're providing leadership. It is you're providing guidance. It is you're providing counsel. It is you're providing understanding of love and life and relationships. You provide quite a lot more than just food and milk.
Sure, you sum it up so well.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't add or subtract. Lastly, right, one thing that I'm noticing that's affecting society today in relationships is just generally who a couple hangs around, right? So we are not keeping the right circles that help us to grow, especially because there's a lot of people getting married, but there's also a lot of people getting divorced. And there's a lot of people, again, dating and not really leading to marriage. So we end up surrounding ourselves with a lot of different relationships that are not adding any value to marriage. How have you seen relationships impacting marriage, and what can a couple put in place to make sure that they are protected and they're covering their marriage?
So the Bible says, how can two walk together
Mm-hmm.
unless they agree?
Mm.
It says, does darkness have an agreement with light?
Mm.
If you consider such scriptures, I have had to see marriages fall apart because somebody in the marriage was hanging around people who were divorced,
Mm.
and these were close people to them, and they took counsel from these people concerning marriage. So now you are hanging with people who are saying, I see my guy, I could never stand for that. That's why I left that marriage. That's I cannot take that. You should not. You should
You
just
should
walk.
not take
You
it
should
as
just
well.
walk away. I'm just stressing on. I'm not saying people should not hang around people who are divorced, but I am saying surrounding yourself, as you put it, means who has your ear, and are these people, because some people actually, some have been helped by people who are divorced to retain and sustain their marriages, because the person is going to say, be careful, that's how I lost my marriage.
True.
You don't want to go down that path. And they'll give sound counsel to say, if you don't want to end up where I am, this is how you can turn the situation around. So there's pros and cons to this thing. So, but the part that I'm stressing is the people who you surround yourself with, even not just for marriage, for your own life. Those people have they have room, or they have your ear, and they can break or make you or your marriage. So it's important, especially as a couple. As a couple, you need to know the people you hang around. You need to know their behaviors that you cannot adopt from other couples, from other people. There are things that will not be good for your marriage, in as much as they've helped the next couple. So as I'm very big on associations. I'm very careful who I allow into into my life, and I don't push people away. But you are all. It's like an auditorium. Some are sitting up front, some are sitting way at the back, and I interact with people differently. So as a couple, you need to be very careful who you allow. Now, when I say allow, I'm not just talking about hanging around people who have a voice in your marriage, people who
Can
have,
give you advice.
yeah, people who have an opinion in your marriage. There are people that we can sit and chat and
just have fun.
and just have fun. We sit in church and we meet, but they don't get to say anything when it comes to my relationship, because I'm protecting my relationship from whatever it is that they. So it's very important to nitpick. Don't allow everybody. Not everybody who is called friend is friendly. So be careful. The Bible warns us about associations. Psalm chapter 1, verse 1 opens up with, blessed is a man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of the scornful. It says, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he will meditate day and night. This person shall be like a tree planted by the rivers, streams of waters, whose leaf does not wither, and they bear fruit in its season, and everything they do shall prosper. That is straight up, who do you associate with? Because it informs the next part. If you avoid these people, this is the likelihood of your life. That's what that whole passage is saying. So there is a correlation in the people you hang out and where you end up. Like they would say, what's that saying? Birds of the same feather.
Flock
or
together.
rather show me person's friend, I'll show you their character, whatever, something like that. But there is a very close correlation between the two. So you need to be very careful what relationships you expose your marriage to and yourself, not just the marriage, but also yourself.
I totally agree. There's no other way to sum it up. I think like it's very important who you surround yourself with. And it's important to guard your mind, guard your ears, guard what you see, who you listen to, see if some of this marriage advice, because these days everybody can give marriage advice, but you have to sieve it to pick the right advice that works for you and for your marriage. So that closes our episode, and we're just going to ask you 2 quick questions that people asked, and then you just give us like your quick responses.
Okay, before we go there, can I just have this as a closing remark? Please get your definition of marriage from God. Society has so many ways of defining marriage. Please don't accept and adopt and adapt to all sorts of definitions of marriage. Marriage is a God thing. So you need God to define what marriage is for you, what marriage is to you, what marriage means to you. Your life is very important for you to just adopt and adapt to whatever opinions and ideologies that society will give. The definition of marriage is not complete without Christ.
I love it. We're waiting for Pastor Gugu's podcast, right? We're all waiting. All right. Question number 1. So these questions were anonymous. It's just 2 we are asking you. This person says, I'm going to off ramp a little bit. How do so many women deal with a cheating partner? Because I'm struggling, but I can't leave him right now because I fully depend on him. What should I do while I'm looking for something to do financially? I know a woman who knows that her husband's cheating, but she's still with him. What's your advice?
The husband is cheating and you don't know how to deal with him.
Because she depends on him financially, I suppose.
That's not a marriage though. That marriage is gone. Not that it cannot be turned around, but you are not in a marriage anymore because you are in a convenience arrangement, or rather an arrangement of convenience. You are like, from what I'm hearing, she's there just until she can be on
for herself.
She can be on her own. So I don't see why you want to deal with a husband who's cheating, but you are also not in the marriage anymore. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, because from what I'm hearing, the lady is saying he's cheating, and I want to leave him, but not just yet. I'm going to leave him when I
can afford to,
when I get my stuff together. So, to what end are we trying to deal with him? But I want you to consider a few things here. Your life is at risk. You have a husband who is cheating, and he's obviously going to bring some diseases into. That's your life at risk. So you need to speak to him about it. Probably you have, but you need counsel from external counsel. If you have not done so, marriages can be repaired. God is a God who restores everything. It doesn't matter how broken it may seem. But it seems to me you have given up. You have tried probably on your own. You need somebody from the outside to actually help. There's counselors. They're called therapists. You need somebody to actually help you repair the marriage, if that's what you are willing to do, and if that's what your husband is willing to do. As a pastor, you will never hear me advise people to divorce. I don't do that, because I believe marriage is a godly thing, and God is able to restore marriages. I've seen him restore marriages. So my advice to you, seek external counsel. But I need you to change your mind as well, from saying you are only there until you can you can fend for yourself. That is not a good place to be in. You're just unnecessarily exposing yourself to things. Your dignity is depleting your life. You are being degraded by somebody, and you are allowing it because they are providing for you. That's a very bad thing. That's a very bad
mindset.
Yeah, you are devaluing yourself by doing that. So just don't do that. Get him back onto the table to say, we need to seek help. We need to speak to somebody. Don't stop working towards fending for yourself. Don't stop that.
That you still need.
That one you still need to do. Because now, since you are in a prison, you cannot get out of, because what am I going to do? And you have allowed his provision to define you, because you are now, who am I without him at this point in time? So there's a lot of mess that's happening right now in your character and person that you need to deal with. But dealing with him is bringing somebody from the outside, whether it's his family, a therapist, your family. There has to be an intervention.
Agreed. Thank you. Then the last one is, can constantly asking your partner questions for your clarity cause your relationship to fall apart? So I'm assuming it's, asking questions around, where are we going? What is this? I would assume they didn't give more context.
I guess it's going to depend on the questions themselves. Are these questions that imply that your partner doesn't know what's happening? There's a way to ask questions that can make the other person feel like they're at fault, if I may. Asking questions has never been wrong. Saying, hey, we need to sit and talk about what's happening, where are we moving towards, what are we moving, what are we doing, what's happening here. It's not wrong. But if you are that kind of a person who loves to do a pulse check on your marriage and the progress of your marriage, then your spouse should know that we have these periodic sessions where we do this pulse check, because if you're going to do it as an ad hoc thing, it might, depending on the character of the person as well, it might be something as a Wednesday, so you might just bore the person. It might just annoy the person. I'm not saying it should annoy them, but I'm saying if that's who you are, let's talk about then structure it into your marriage. Let your partner know this is what I would like us to do, and refrain from expecting your partner. He should know that this is how I do know. We're not sangomas here. So let's just talk about things. We're adults. We're in a marriage. Can we just have a quarterly check of where we are for everything we said we want to achieve in this year, and just our relationship? It becomes easy to do so. That's good. It's good to have those, though. But if it sometimes it can come across, you saw a friend and their life was going a certain way, and now you're coming to impose that onto me, or you comparing me to the next guy or the next lady or whatever. So, and I don't understand these questions. Where does this question come from? Why today?
Yeah.
So it's a good thing, but structure it, and it will not be a problem. If you don't, it might be a problem.
Yes, I agree with you. And I mean, if you're also asking, even from the perspective of, because I think these days women are in a limbo where men are not really asking women out. People are just dating again for the fun of it. I think whenever you have to ask questions and someone is not giving you a straight answer, it's a clear no. Because for me, I think a man who knows, men always know that this is a woman I want to get married to, or this is a woman I want something serious with. So if he is so undecisive, for me, it speaks into the fact that either he's still scared to be in a relationship, but it all sums up to he's not yet ready to be in a relationship. And if he's not ready to provide clarity, or sometimes if you have to ask questions, then he's probably not there.
Yeah, we'll deal more with that in the next episode.
Is that another topic
Yeah,
for
because
you?
that's another topic, because this thing of men always know is an inaccurate blanket statement, and it becomes an issue.
But
So,
if we're having like
no,
a
let's
sort
not
of
have
like
it
a
now.
dating.
Don't have it now. It's
right.
a very long conversation. So I got married to somebody I did not know I wanted to I would get married to. I got married to somebody I said I would not get married to.
Okay. Episode for another day. On that note, Thank you everybody for watching, and thanks to our lovely, amazing guest full of wisdom. I'm sure people will absolutely love and enjoy this episode and ask you to come for more episodes. So as you can see, I already have 2 episodes lined up because of the different things we did manage to get through. But thank you so much for watching. I absolutely love you guys. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Thank you so much for having me, Naki. Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to having more engagements. You can connect with me, by the way, also on my socials. I'm available. I know I may look like I'm too serious at times, but
Please give us your socials.
Gugu Mbuku. You look for Gugu Mbuku on X, IG, Facebook.
Yes.
I think that's where I'm most active. Still trying to find my way around this TikTok thing.
TikTok is amazing. Please join it. At least you can start your podcast there.
I do have an account there, but like I said, I'm still trying to find my way. I'm not active. I'm not. So yeah, you'll find me there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You're amazing. Thanks everybody. Until next time.